We are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please do not effing swear. Straight off the bat, hello to all. Please say hello and get comments in. Joining me this evening, Dave Housey Housecroft. Hiya, Dave.
Yep. Not too bad. Thanks, matey. Yep.
Top man. Top man, Paul Patton. Good evening, Paul.
All right.
And we've got feedback, so somebody's got me on. Yeah, turn that off. And it's Craig, the Stins, Craig Stinson, who shot 30 pigeons yesterday with a catapult, which isn't bad. 35, I do apologise.
You just tell me that, Craig.
Oh!
Yeah. And again, Craig.
Sorry?
Get him at freezer.
Get him in freezer, lad. So today is Saturday, 16th of September. We've had club today, and I always moan and complain that I can't get round club, but obviously today's been slightly ever so different. Just a quick run through the numbers then. So 26 in total. Because I forgot to add Dale. So, me and Martin Beddow. Martin is doing the F-14 Tomcat. That looks like a brilliant kit. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just on my YouTube channel, it's the latest vlog. Don't go and watch it now. Marky Bridge popped in with Leanne, so that actually takes it up to 27. Keep crossing these numbers out. Nice to see Ian Clement doing a little bit. Andy Fish busy as usual. Alistair popped in with his lad. Trev popped in. Davey House, nice to see always. How's the foot, Dave?
Yeah, getting better every day now. It's still painful when I put my foot down. That I'm not supposed to do anyway. But yeah, it's getting better. Another month, and I can see me starting to walk on it. To be fair,
fantastic, great. That's good news, that mate.
Moving forward, pal.
Bill R. William, I bloody love it. Dropped in. So did Mark and Andrew. Unfortunately, can't make the stream tonight because they've had some guests in coming over quite late in the day. And in Norfolk, and Jeannie Jean, who did a sublime job with that cake. I didn't get any cake. Paul didn't get any cake. Dave, did you get cake?
I did, yeah.
Craigie, did you get cake?
I got a small piece, yeah.
Right, so Jeannie owes me and Paul a piece of cake. Andy Norfolk, mate. Paul Patton, obviously, popping in. Neil Singleton. Nice to see Neil. I do like it when Neil pops in. Shara, so coming in. But still no Davy Jackson. Missing you, mate.
Yeah.
Craigie Stinson, Alan Stringer. Dougie took on Buck and running the club. Nice to see Simon, who's dropped down to working 3 days a week. Mark Wilson with his bus. Birthday boy, Lewis Dell. We'll talk about Lewis in a minute. Chris Smith. Graham coming all the way from Cleethorpes yet again. I tell you what, that shows some proper dedication. But remind me, need to talk about Graham as well in a minute. And Sam G, Sam Glenn and Dale. So 27. 27, what a great number for club today. 27. Dave House.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. It was nice to see everybody to bounce off each other today. You know, there were everybody helping one another. Obviously, Dalio got put next to me, and every time I remembered how he was there, I helped him.
Yeah.
I kept forgetting he was there.
I kept forgetting he was there.
Yeah, he's as quiet as a mouse, and he sort of gets on with it. And yeah.
Yeah, it does, mate.
I mean, thinking about it now and looking around, everybody sort of got on with what they were doing. I think there were more of an amount of people that were walking round and interacting with other guys as well. That was nice.
Yeah, mate.
Nice to see as well. And obviously,
very much so.
Nice to see Sean as well here. Deals and bargains.
I love to see, Sean. Now, just a quick plug. So, obviously, the people who tune in regularly know that our club, Sesco Club. So, one of the things that I wanted to do, not right from the off, I'd be lying if I said so, but the more that we got club, you know, robust and solid, what I wanted to do was try and introduce a local hobby shop. Obviously, not from a selfish point of view, but you know, from a sort of side-in point of view, I wanted a local hobby shop that would be able to come to the odd club, bring some wares, and say, lads, if you buy off me today, I'll discount you. And Sean at SGS has absolutely hit the mark. Craig, you've had some stuff on SGS models today.
I have, yes.
What did you buy, mate?
I got, let's have a look, where are we? We got some finish cleaner.
That's the stuff.
Some ultra glue.
That's the stuff. That's what we were talking about on the last live stream, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I love it.
Mr. Services 500.
Oh, right. Paul swears by that.
Yeah. And I got some weighted wheels for the Apache.
Weighted wheels for the Apache. Can we just have a look at little Logie Bear's t-shirt, mate?
Come forward.
Hey,
Look at that.
the little apprentice.
Turn round.
Turn round.
Turn round. What's it say on back?
Can we see it?
What's it say, Craigie?
It says apprentice.
Yeah, look at that.
Awesome.
Do you know what? Out of all the merch that I peddle onto you guys, that is one of my favourite little items. So obviously all our merchandise, it's all embroidered on. But to keep the cost low for the kids, I went to our supplier, who is Glow Clothing in Featherstone, and said, Gail, I've got some kids that come to club. They really want to be part of the attachment. What have you got? And I designed that little T-shirt, and I said, don't put Sesco and stuff on the back. It don't mean out to them, but the word apprentice, it's like, you are my Padawan, and I absolutely love it.
That's actually a good word for it. Padawan.
Padawan.
Absolutely.
For all you Star Wars fans out there.
It's a good term, is that?
It is, mate. Right, so I wanted to talk about tonight's topic of conversation after we've chatted about our club and how absolutely fantastic we are. Graham has yet again been on the airbrush today. Now, we introduced Graham to two live streams back. It might even be 3 now, because Graham is an out-and-out paint brusher. And, you know, we said, you've been to the club, and as soon as he came to that first club, literally within half an hour, I was sticking an airbrush in his hand, Dave, because if you're not used to that medium and that application, then it can be quite scary, can't it?
Yeah, I mean, I can only use an example of when I first got back into modelling, and I had this mentality of it was going to be Umbral enamel paints, and it's going to be paintbrush, and it's going to be glue from out of a tube. But when I actually went for this, because originally I got my first kit bought for me, so I had to go out and buy stores. But when I found out what was out there, you know, like this Tamiya cement, what's this? It's like liquid. So obviously you have that for the tube. And yeah, it can be, if you don't know what it's all about and you've never seen one in use, it can be really daunting, because
mate.
I'm thinking, oh my God, all I could think about was when you press button, it's, you know, you've got to control it like a bloody out of control hosepipe.
Yeah, mate.
It's nothing like that, and it's like riding a bike. Once you pick that airbrush up and you get used to, which is, for me, it was only minutes. Pressing that button, getting the paint through and putting it onto where you need it, that fear, that apprehension goes away. And then from then on, you're on a big learning curve.
You bet you are.
Yeah, a big learning curve. And also maintenance. The only thing about that, you wash your brush out, then you put it in your thing, but it takes a bit of maintenance for an airbrush, as you will probably tell people in a bit. I'm not really good on
Very
cleaning
much so.
Yeah, but yeah, as I say, if anybody's thinking, oh, I don't know, I would say do it, because when you do, you probably won't look back. Somebody straight away I'll mention, and you know I'm going to say, oh, never touch an airbrush, and that is
Ian Clemmett.
Clemmett. He would never touch an airbrush. One day, I don't know what happened. He must have banged his head, but he went and he bought one. But
yeah,
now he does a heck of a lot of things with the airbrush, and he loves it. He loves it. So what I would say is, anybody that's a little bit apprehensive with the airbrush thing, listen, just have a go, because it'll change your modelling. Totally change your modelling.
Craigie, just over to you, mate. Can you remember, like, the first time that you had to go with an airbrush and thought, I quite like this?
Right, I'm gonna let you into a secret.
Come
when
on.
I first started modelling, I never used anything. So when COVID happened, I bought my first model, which was a resin model. I bought an airbrush. I bought everything to do the model. So it was like do or die. So it was like, I either do it or I don't do the hobby. So I just jumped in the deep end and just went balls deep, basically. And I've learned from there. It's been a learning curve. I've watched videos, I've talked to your guys, I've had tuition, and it's been a steep learning curve. From when I started to what I can do now, it's night and day. It really is.
Let me just rewind. Let me just rewind you there. When you said, because the last thing that we want to do, Graham's popped a comment on. Dave, what does that say?
Who's done that? Sorry,
Graham's popped a comment on there.
Says, you got it, Dave.
Is it Gray's mom? All right. Hi, everyone. Had a great day today, especially trying with the airbrush, but which one to buy?
So, right, let me pause you right there.
Yeah.
I was talking to Graham today with Mark Liddell, and we were saying that the majority of people at club cut their teeth with me on a Bart Sharp 186.
Yeah.
And as an introductory airbrush, oh, daddy long legs, did you get them in shed? As an introductory, can't even speak, budget entry-level airbrush, you can't go wrong. Not only is the airbrush sound, but the company is sound as well.
Yeah.
And if you've got any problems, you can go onto Amazon and you can go airbrush and you can find a twin pack and you haven't got a clue what you're looking for. And it says a 0.4 needle and a 0.6 needle and you haven't got a clue. And it's got shitty seals in it because it's from abroad and it's not going to be. I get it. I totally get it. But as an introductory airbrush, for me, the Bart Sharp was the one. With Bart Sharp, 12-month warranty. He's on end at phone. He's on an email. I can't do this. I can't do that. He's got the Bart Sharp Facebook page as well. And any problems, you can usually get your answers to the questions that you're getting in your head.
Yeah, but like Craig said, though, just when he spoke, the good thing about now, instead of back in the days, there's YouTube. So you've got loads of tutorials on YouTube. So Craigie was saying about, I was doing this, and going on YouTube and da-da-da-da-da. And that's what I do now all the time. The first thing I think of is I'm going to go on YouTube and have a look. And talking about the airbrushes as well. I'm a little bit like this regarding which to buy. The really expensive Harder and Steenbeck, or the Badger, or the Cut Your Teeth Bat Sharp. Don't they have two different ones, Bat Sharp? But
the best one. Go on.
I think that the hobby itself has come on so much, and I think people, manufacturers of airbrushes, have seen this. So I think now there's a heck of a lot more budget airbrushes that are quite good.
But what are we talking budget wise here? Are we talking 40, 80, 100? What's budget?
I'd say about 80.
I can't remember. We were watching on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, and he had a budget airbrush. I think he paid something like 30 quid for it, and he'd had it about 5 years, and nothing had gone wrong with it, and it did everything it said it were gonna do. Now it didn't probably have the, you know, the thing on the end where you can regulate.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger back. It probably did, because you get them on probably your more expensive ones. But the quality of airbrushes these days, I think, is getting better for the cheaper end as well.
The discussion that we had was basically what a newbie into airbrushing is faced with. Number one, I would say, and you've got to echo this, get down to a friend's or a club that does airbrushing before you even think about spending 1 pence on the equipment. Let's start weighing up the price of the airbrush, the hose, the compressor, the paints, the thinners, the cotton buds, the latex glove, etc., etc. Set yourself a budget, and then start. The more airbrushes that you can have a go with, the better it is. And obviously that's one of the beauties of our club. We've got Bart Sharp airbrushes. We've got my Harder. Mark uses a Harder. There's loads and loads of us. James has popped a comment on there. A Procon.
Yeah. Now the Procon boy 2.0 Platinum. I'm just wondering how much you would pay for something like that. Compared,
I'm sure James will answer that.
Compared to a Harder and Steenbeck or an Iwata. You know, I'm just wondering.
I paid £235 for my Harder and Steenbeck CR Plus Infinity 2-in-1. I got it for my 50th birthday, 235 quid, 2 years ago, because COVID were in. And my missus said to me, do you want to go on a spa holiday break for your 50th? COVID's in, love, so how much is that? She says, it's about 250 quid. I says, no, you can park that, but I don't know what I want for me 250 quid.
Yeah.
I looked online yesterday for a fellow I chat to called Lee. And he said, Mark, you know, I've cut my teeth on this cheap airbrush, but I want to upscale. What am I looking at? And when I looked at the price of those Harders now, Dave, they're at 265 quid.
Yeah.
That's not a big jump.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Craig,
they're always going to
be
mega bucks, unless you can pick one up on eBay, maybe that's used. Somebody that's wanting to offload the stuff really quickly, you might get your bargains there.
Yeah. Paul Patton.
Hello.
Let's get you chatting in the room. Airbrushing. What's the crack? How long have you been on the old airbrush, mate?
Donkeys.
And what did you start with?
One of them Harder and Steenbeck Ultra.
The Ultra.
Yeah, the 2-in-1 kind of thing.
All right. Any good?
Yeah, for a starter.
What are you using now?
That's an Iwata custom Micron.
All right. Go on. Tell us about it then, because I'm not familiar.
It's their top end one.
All right. Cost a lot of money?
A lot of money, yes.
How much a lot of money?
I've had this a couple of years now, and it cost me 350, I think, and they've gone up with a bang.
And what size needle are you running in that?
It's a 0.18. 0.18, I think.
0.18. Dave, you're running a 0.15.
Or is it 0.15? I can't. Yeah, that sounds much. I don't know why I said 8.
The adder is
Yes.
1.5, but I'm
0.15.
0.15, but I'm just unscrewing my errata because I totally forgot what were in there.
Right, Craig, what needle are you shooting, mate?
1.2. No,
A
0.2.
1.2.
No, 0.2, sorry. 0.2 in that one.
A 0.2.
And I've got a 0.8 in my primer one, wherever my
A
primer.
0.8. What do you paint with that? Your fucking fence? Jesus Christ.
Primer, though. Primer. I use that for primer. So
You need to turn your pressure up, lad, because 0.8, I can paint side of house with that, man.
it's very rare I use it. And everything I use goes through that.
Oh, God.
Normally. Everything goes through that now.
Housey, you've got to say, haven't you? 0.8 is absolutely. It'd be like pushing your broom handle in the back of the gun.
Yeah, it's industrial.
Industrial. Jesus Christ! Listen, there's the 16 people who are watching. Thanks for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. We've had a couple of comments. If you're shooting, right? If you're shooting on the old airbrush, tell us what you've got. Even though the topic of conversation isn't airbrushes, it's actually paint, but we will get onto that. Tell us what airbrushes you've got. Tell us what size needle you're running, and then we're going to carry on with painting. My airbrush experience came very, very simply. Down at club, I went from Revell Aquacolor, which is your little blue paint, when I first started back 7 years ago. Then I moved on to Vallejo Model Air, which at the time I thought, this is the stuff. I like this. Moving on from that, listening to my peers, listening to friends, and they will say, no, Tamiya is the way to go, Mark, which hence I've got a rack full of Tamiyas. And then after that, I think it was you, Dave, if I'm absolutely honest, and also courtesy of Andy Norfolk, because at the time I was painting something that I needed some Desert Pink for. I didn't have any Tamiya. I couldn't get any. Andy Norfolk said, Mark, try this MRP 185. And I tried that and I've never looked back. I digress. We're not going to talk about paint just yet. So I was building the Revell 1 in 24 Huey helicopter, the really, really big one. And I'd literally, me and my mate, Gaz, we were both building exactly the same kit at exactly the same time.
Okay.
And for the 12-month running up to that, I'd been rattle canning, but I was just very conscious that it were like £8 a tin, and it were all right, and it were doing a job for me. But I got a couple of people online that were saying, airbrush mark, and do you know what? The more that they did it, the more that they were pushing me into it. A bit like Clemmy, really, Dave. The more that they pushed, the more I resisted.
Yeah.
But one day, I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to look on internet. I found Bart Sharp. I got in touch with owner there, Alison and Tim. I said, I'm going to be brand new to this. What do you recommend? What can I have? What can you send me? How much is it? And literally in a couple of days, I got everything through. I got a Bart Sharp 186 and a compressor, the hose, etc., etc. And I built this kit. And I was chatting to a friend of mine, Jez, online, and I'm saying, I've got it all here, mate. I just daren't use it. The amount of trepidation that I got in the, what happens if I bollocks it up? What happens if I don't clean it? What happens if this? What happens if that? And they were all saying to me on Facebook chat, just pour some paint in it, Mark. Just do this, just do that. And do you know how long it took me to pick it up, Dave? Instantly. It didn't take me 10 minutes, half an hour. I was spraying. It is that simple.
Straight away. Yeah. Yeah. I was the same. I found it very easy to get into.
Going back to Graham, what we said to Graham was, before you spend any cash, have a look round, get a budget in your head for what you want. You can either do entry level and then work your way up, whether it's 2 months, a month, a couple of weeks, a year. Just get used to distancing, turning pressure down, different paints, thinning, or keep coming to club, keep using our equipment for a practice, and in a couple of months' time, when you are like, this is absolute piece of piss, then you'll know that you're ready. Then go out and make your mind up whether you're going to spend £100 on airbrush, £200, £35, no matter what. You can spend what you want and get into it that way.
Yeah, there are budgets for everybody. There are
absolutely, mate.
And like I said, the quality of the budget airbrushes, I think, have improved a lot. So yeah.
Yes, mate. Right. So let me just go back to comments. So I think this is Risedam. I do apologise if I'm not pronouncing that right. And the comment there, that this one's for me actually. It's let me just have a look. It's hi Mark. What's up, man? You ready for next Saturday? So basically, I've been invited on to do a live stream chat next Saturday and chat about kits for kids, which is coming up to a fruition. Then, who have I got next? Then I've got Gray's Models that's popped on. Victoria says, Mark, send our Lewis the link if you can. He says he'll pop on if possible. I will in a short while. I know, mate. I'm going to talk about Lewis in a minute, and I am going to get him on. So, James Procon Boy 2.0 Platinum. David Ross, evening all from the Highlands. Thanks for your comment earlier, Dave, on the video. I hope that you like that. James says about 120 bar, basically, for an Iwata. Sounds all right. Dave said, I had a hard Evo 2-in-1, got rid, too temperamental. And now have a Procon Boy 270 and an Iwata Neo, and all is good there. Paul Radcliffe, our Paul, who actually should be on with us tonight, says good evening. Adrian Hunt, he's got two, what's that said? Neo Eco airbrush with a 3.0 and a 5.0. And Gar Burton says, give the Fengda 180k a bash. Great brush for the beginner. Never heard of that. Have any of you guys?
No.
Never heard of that. Let me just pull my little screen down here and see who's trying to ping me. I have Dave. Yeah, right. So that moves us on to Craig. Back to you, mate. So keep telling me the story. So what paints did you use to start with? How did you think I want to do this?
To start with, I just used Tamiya. It was just Tamiya. That's what I used. I didn't really get into shadings or anything like that on my first model. It was just paint it, weather it.
Yeah.
And since once I've been watching the YouTube videos with the pre-shading, post-shading, that's when I really got into it and started mixing paints and playing and thinning paints down and really having a good play and working.
And how long have you been doing that for now?
Since I started modelling, which was at the beginning of the lockdown, so it's 3 years.
All right, okay, cool.
So, yeah, 3 years is all I've been doing, and that's it.
Yeah,
so
right.
Everything I've learned has been in that 3 years.
So for people like Graham, what would your advice be?
I started off with a cheap airbrush, very cheap.
Yeah.
And I was getting basic results. But push yourself. Obviously, I had that session with you, with your airbrush, and that day I come home and I text you, I said, I've ordered it. It's on its way. That was the game changer. I come straight home and I ordered the airbrush.
Is that today, Craig?
No, it was a couple of years since.
Last year, weren't it?
Yeah, right.
Middle of
last year, man.
Yeah, and I come straight home, I paid the money, and I got the results I started to want, and it changed. My modelling changed from that day, from the airbrush.
Okay, all right, right. Paul, any advance on go out and spend as much of Mullingar as you possibly can, or let's take it easy and work up the ladder?
Well, you can always come to club and try a few airbrushes out, like you've said. Obviously, I'll have to wait 2 weeks for that. But yeah, I've already spoke to Graham today, actually, and I've.
All right, cool. What was
yeah.
the dialogue there, mate?
Well, I basically told him to buy an Iwata or bust. If I'm honest. But that's just me, innit?
No, mate, but absolutely, opinions are brilliant.
Well, I've had quite a few airbrushes. I've had, but end of the day, it's all depends on what you want, doesn't it? If he's gone from brush painting to his first airbrush, so relatively speaking, he's going to be over the moon no matter what, isn't he? As long as you get that nice, opaque, homogeneous layer down, which you can't do with a brush, obviously.
No.
But it depends then what you want to do with it. If you want to paint figures and what have you, then go for something that's got a bit of a finer atomization, better machined, that kind of thing. But if you don't want to go that far, then mid-range kind of thing, the Harder and Steenbeck, what they call it, the shiny one that you all have, the Infinity.
Yes,
that's a popular one.
It is.
But you can also, if you look on the websites, you can see each airbrush and you can see what spray pattern they offer. And you can choose that way. So if you don't need fine, you don't need to necessarily, dig deep into your pockets.
Yeah, because ultimately, sorry, mate, ultimately Graham's an armour builder, isn't he?
Yeah, he were on about figures as well. But, figures are better painted. You can paint them with airbrush, no problem, especially, if you just do a zenithal highlight and then you can use inks and what have you. But with a really fine airbrush, you can get it right in there and shade, faces and what have you. But again, if you don't need it for that and you just need it for just covering your model, bit of shading, bit of an highlight, you don't need to go down that route. But like I say, if you go on each on website or on wherever you're buying it from, it should tell you the spray pattern to expect from each airbrush, and that obviously the finer ones are more expensive, sort of thing. Okay,
tidy. Would I go back to? I wouldn't change, obviously, now. I would never go back. Right, so Dave says, Mr. Hobby Tamiya and Real Colours work for myself. We are going to, let's get to the topic of conversation then. So, topic of conversation tonight is painting. And like I said, I started off, forget the Revell Aqua Colour, because I never airbrushed that. That was just for paintbrush. I started off with Vallejo Model Air. Now, I know that Paul Radcliffe absolutely swears by it.
Bridgie as well, doesn't it? Bridgie likes it. Bridgie don't mind a bit of Vallejo.
I'm also partial to a bit of Vallejo in all its forms. Good stuff.
You like it, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Why?
It's just good paint, good coverage. You can do all sorts with it. Chip in, if it's easy dilutable with water. You don't need thinners, that kind of thing. Even if you've got the game colour, the older ones that aren't designed, aren't formulated for airbrush, should I say? They're easily thinnable, to right consistency. It's just great paint. In fact, I prefer to actually buy these ones, the older ones, that way I can control consistency. If I want it for brush painting,
Yeah.
I can have it as thick or as thin as I want. And I
Yeah.
tend to, even with the model Air though, I still tend to add a bit of flow improver.
Yes.
So if I'm mixing a bit of flow improver in, I might as well buy that and mix the thinner in as well. And like I say, I can control consistency then.
Yeah. Do you know what it is with me and Vallejo? And this is going to make you laugh. The only reason that I don't particularly go to the Vallejo, right, is because of the price. Not the price of the paint. It's the price of the goddamn thinner and cleaner.
Mm.
That is the reason why.
But don't forget, a lot of people overlook this, but the cleaner, if you read instructions, you dilute it by 50%. So you actually get 2 of those when you buy one.
What, straight dilute with water?
Yeah.
And that's for the, what is that for the cleaner or the thinner? Go on, he's reading.
Yeah, I'm just reading mine.
Are you reading yours? I'm going to get my belly out because I have got, or I did have, I might not have it anymore. I thought I'd got a bottle of Vallejo, but I have, I have, here we go.
I've flow improver.
You've got, go on, Paul, what's it say, mate?
It's the very last sentence on the airbrush cleaner, dilute 50% with water. So
do you know what? I've never noticed that, and I've got a bottle here. I think it's in French, is it? Dilute avec 50% d'eau.
The second one's in English, mate. No,
I ain't got it, cocker. Unless it's on the other side. It might. Oh, it is. It's on the other side. Eliminates colour rests and lubricates the mechanism of the airbrush without causing damage. For more thorough cleaning, soak the valve and nozzle, not the whole airbrush, for several hours. If used to rinse out paint between colour change, dilute with 50% water. I did not know. All this time, I didn't even know that.
No, I didn't know that.
You know.
There you go. Stick with me.
That's why I invite you on, Paul.
Well, you see, that changes things then, doesn't it? Yeah, it is expensive, but you get twice as much. So all I've got there, that you see my little bit of Tamiya tape wrapped around it. It's just to tell me I've already diluted it. The old one, I've just done, and then I don't get confused. Then I know that,
This airbrush cleaner, because 71.099. Now that's the cleaner. That little bottle there, there's 85 mils in there, and I think that cost me about £5.50, and that's for your cleaner. But it was the thinner. I think it's twice the size of that. Might be this tall. Yeah. And I'm sure it was about 10 quid. And I thought, what the fucking 10 quid for that?
I don't know. I can't remember how much it is, but there's another thing as well. Don't just, if you already do this, then, what I do is once.
Are you going?
Sorry,
just a bit off to bed.
See you later.
No, is Logie going? Right, okay.
Yeah,
I thought Dave was waving goodbye then.
No, we were waving to Logan.
Okay. Go on, Paul. We're still...
So you don't have to use all airbrush cleaner as well, even though you've diluted it now by half.
Yeah.
Again, you might already do this, but if not, and it only works with water-based paints, obviously you won't do this with a solvent-based. But this is an empty Vallejo bottle that I've just got water in. And all I do, the pot, I've got an empty pot or anything else like that. When I've finished the colour, I blast that out into that pot there with just that water. And when you squeeze it, it's quite, it's enough to wash it out. So I actually rinse the whole thing out and tip it there like that.
Yeah.
wipe it out with a rag or whatever, your tissue,
Yeah.
and that way then, before you've even put any airbrush cleaner in, you've got a clean colour cap. So you're not requiring loads to flush it through then.
Right.
You get me?
Yeah. Bear with me. Who's bloody ringing me now?
I can always tell when it's gone in and when it hasn't. Oh, I could rephrase that maybe.
Yeah, that sounds a bit wrong, that.
Right.
Did you get me?
Yes, mate. I'm just going to go on to. I've just dismissed a call, which has absolutely knackered my microphone settings up. So I'm going to go into my sharing. No, it's none of that. No, none of that. I don't want hotkeys, for Christ's sake. Audio. Let me just sort my microphone out. Back in the room. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. Right, so back to comments. Paul's going upstairs, finishing his tea, then he's going upstairs, bless him. Dave Ross, Mr. Hobby Tamiya and Real Colours work for myself. Go for it painting says hello. Garburn, you can spend lots and lots of money, you certainly can. Let's hit that like button. Now, Dave says for detail painting, Vallejo all day long. Paul, you do a lot of detail painting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Area. It's good stuff. I do use Games Workshop stuff, but to be honest, some of their paints are atrocious, especially because I've only done scale models since for about 8 years. I've always done Warhammer, so I've always used Warhammer, Citadel paints. But to be honest, if I can use the Vallejo alternative, especially for painting miniatures, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. I also use scale 75 stuff. That's nice. Some people don't get on with it because it's really matte, but that's really helpful in some situations. Especially if you're actually painting in reflections on a cartoon sort of thing. If you've got it matte, you paint the reflection. What you don't want is painting a white reflection and it actually having a reflection because it's glossy.
Yeah. Okay. I always learn chuffing loads from you. Craigie, your go-to paint then? Tamiya, you say?
Yeah, Tamiya and MRP. So I only
grab a drink.
Armour. So
go on, mate.
I only use the basic colours, basically. I use green, black, and that's about it. I don't diverge from Armour, so my paint really is pretty slim for what I use.
Yeah.
So,
but you had to go with MRP down at club though, mate, didn't you?
I did for the white.
And
it's lovely. Once you've got that
right. So what Paul's left the room. Me and Dave, right? We are MRP bonkers.
Yeah.
Dave, why are you MRP bonkers, mate?
Well, I've used Vallejo and I didn't get on with it for various reasons. One of which, I always had problems with my airbrush when I used Vallejo. I also used Tamiya. Tamiya was a better all-round paint, I thought. Obviously, the matte, the XF, and the X, the gloss, were all good. They thinned well, and they came through the brush well, the airbrush. But when I got onto MRP, ready mixed, it was like nectar coming out of the bottle. It was just like nectar. And a thing that I learned to do from getting a paint like MRP, which was so thin, it's like water, is, you know what I'm going to say here, I think, you can put really delicate light coats on, and then if you go over it again a couple of minutes later with the same colour, it's building the actual colour up and it's giving it depth. And I always find with MRP, I can do that a lot better than I could do it with the likes of Tamiya and Mr. Hobby and them sort of paints. It's just a dream. It's a dream to work with. I never get a clog in the airbrush, and the airbrush is so easy to clean out. You don't need to be taking it apart and, you know, giving it loads of maintenance sort of every time you use it. It's an easy flush. So yeah, I'm MRP all the way.
Yeah, I have noticed that it's very watery, and you've got to be on your game with your airbrush with it. You've got to really watch your pressures. It's a slow process with MRP. It's not a quick squirt and you're expecting it to be done. You have got to build it up and build it up and build it up. So that's what I found. Where your Tamiya, you can just bang it on and you've got coverage straight away.
Yeah, it can be unforgiving, Craig, can't it?
Yeah.
At times, can it?
Why can it be unforgiving though, Dave? What do you mean? I do know what you mean. But from the comments that people have put on, there's nobody said I use MRP. So just explain what you mean.
Well, you can't go at it like you would go at it with Tamiya.
Yeah.
Because if you did, you'd end up with splodges. You'd end up with spidering. You'd end up with, and you know, you'd end up with splashes. Yeah, you'd end up. Well, it would just be like a mess. That's why you have to be real into the control of the airbrush. And so, as I say, don't think that when you put it on, you just go over it once and it's done. You've got your colour on. Don't think like that. You've actually got to go over it like 2 or 3 times to get the best benefit from the colour.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, I encouraged Dale to do some airbrushing today. Dave, you saw the fruits of that when he came and sat inside here. I know, mate. And it were quite, not funny, but first time Dale had to go with airbrush, within seconds, the bloke was saying, oh, I've got it. Oh, I pissed it. I've got it. I've got it. I let him loose today with a bit of Tamiya that I've already thinned down. And I'm saying to him, don't just move the airbrush, move the subject so that you can see. And the way that I describe it, because it's the same way that I described it to you and everybody else that sat in my shed. So we imagine a clock face, 12 o'clock, and when you go down for air and back for paint, you go into 5 past 12. When I airbrush, I'm down for air and I'm literally at 1 minute past, and I'm building up that layer instead of all the way back, high pressure and blasting colour on.
Yeah,
and that's the beauty of MRP.
With the MRP, like you say, you have it at 1 o'clock, and when you go over it a couple of times like that, your first thought is there anything coming out?
Yeah.
But I challenge you. What you do, if you then stop, stand back and wait a minute until give it time to dry, you will see colour. But it'll be so what's the word? It would be so subtle. And that is more subtle than I mean, I'm only talking for myself. It's more subtle than I could ever get with MRP and Mr. Colour Paints, if you like, because once you know you know it's there. Although you can build it up, the MRP is a lot better. And you just put on there what Gaz just put on about Owlow Paints. They are launching at Telford this year. Seems similar to MRP. Well, apparently I talked to Pete, Oz Scale Modelling in Oz, and he uses Outlaw paints, and he totally swears by them.
Really?
And he says that they are on a par with MRP. And
On a par.
Yeah, and I'm not going to argue with that because I've seen what he's done with them. And so yeah, I would maybe call them the of Australia. Yeah, because that is another brand which is coming onto the market over here, which a lot of people I think will get on with. So
now, on the other hand,
you've got MS, Outlaw, and MRP, which are all very similar.
cool. We'll have to have a look out for that. Well, I will, because you're not going to Telford. Paul Patton.
Oh,
come on. We are. You're sat there like a little angel. We're bigging up MRP like, you know, if these boys mention MRP one more time, I'm literally going to vom. Paul, you've got reservations about MRP. Please explain.
well, not so much reservations. It's all right. You know, it's got its place like everything else. It's just that it don't work for me for what I do because obviously you can't chip it and.
Why can't you chip it?
Well, it don't work with what they call it, with formula that, you know, the chipping fluid. I mean, I don't know any other way of doing it. Have they got their own chipping thingy?
Dave House?
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying they haven't, but I haven't seen any.
Well, you see, it's a different formulation. It's really fine, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
And it's quite hard when it's finished because
It
nature
sets
is
like
that
something rock.
I mean, it's a solvent base, isn't it? Which is one of the things that I find difficult to use because obviously, I mean, I've got my extractor here, but when you've got an extractor like this, it's just designed for particulate matter. It obviously don't take the solvent away, so all it does is recirculates. And I'm in a little room here. It's not got any outside windows where I airbrush, so fumes still start to build up.
Yes.
And, you know, joking apart, like, again, it has put me to bed twice now, MRP, because I just feel like I've been wrapped in a warm blanket a couple of minutes after I've started using it. And, you know.
Dave,
But
you've had a
abuse.
respiratory problem. We love MRP, but let's talk about its downside, right?
It's nasty and it's expensive as well, don't forget.
It's nasty stuff, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, very.
I mean, like a lot of lacquers, it smells. It's got a smell to it. But like Paul's just said, or should I say like you just said, I had quite a few respiratory problems, and I thought it was coming from the MRP paint. So what I had to do,
it got on my chest, Dave.
I got myself a full face mask, and then I continued using it in my spray booth, and again I still kept getting that respiratory problem. And I could smell it as well when I had the mask on and everything. So what I've actually done to try and combat it one last time is, I don't know whether you like see here in the background here, I've just got a bark sharp water slide booth. And what that would do is that would take more of the nasties out of the air as soon as it hits the water. And then the extractor, which is at the back of it, will be less pushed to get rid of everything else which might be left. There's less chance of things going into your booth, circulating, and then kicking back out. So that's my fix for for like my chest problems. But as I say, I've only just got my airbrushes back today. So I don't know if it's going to be any good or whether I'll still get it, but I will put some sort of review on my channel when I've used it.
I must admit, right, because I'm not torn. 16th September 2023, I'm having a great discussion with you guys. And 16th of September 2024, I might be saying something completely different, but your regular Tamiya, right? So we've got a cockpit green here, And as we know, when it comes, it's only sort of like two-thirds full.
Yeah, yeah.
And we top it up with Mr. Colour Leveling Thinner or Tamiya X20A, or I even moved on to topping it up with Tamiya Lacquer Thinner to turn the acrylic base paint into a lacquer. And it's not too bad. But then Tamiya decided to bring out their own range of lacquer paint.
Yeah.
And called it the LP series. And from that's got a completely different pungency to it. You love that word, Paul, don't you? Pungency.
Yeah, that's a lacquer paint, is that. And that paint, the LP also, is like resistant to enamel, which is good, because I don't think the other paints in like the XF or the X
yeah, mate.
But the LP is resistant, I believe.
Then you go on to where's my camera? Then you go on to the old MRP, and Jesus Christ, that's like sniffing poppers, Paul.
I know, you need an hazmat suit on. I've said it before.
You do, mate.
And don't forget as well, you cannot brush paint with it.
No, you can't.
You just make a mess. And it is good. It goes down lovely. It's a lovely finish.
Beautiful finish.
What I find though as well, you've got to really be vigilant if you're masking, because of its nature, it's so thin. With it being a solvent, it don't half creep if you layer it under masking tape. And
now, touch wood, right? Never, not once, have I had that, and I'll tell you for why. Because you stick to rule 1, which is a 90-degree spray wherever you can. You never tip your airbrush back anyway, because that lets paint come back in towards your trigger. And I've seen some posts on Facebook recently, videos that this guy's put on, and he's pressing down for air and he's pulling back for paint, and there's actually paint spitting up from his trigger recess, and the point of that argument is that obviously with I haven't got my airbrush, it's in car, but instead of doing a straight on or a downward paint, you've started to go like that, which lets paint travel that way. That's a massive no-no. But coming on to, we've had Sean down at club today, Dave, haven't we? And so he's got. So this is for the 20 folk that are watching. Let me just have a quick look at. Comments. Otto Vaughn says, I pretty much exclusively use lacquer paint now. So easy and forgiving to use with a beautiful finish. Adrian, evening one and all. Good evening, Adrian.
Evening.
Sean's been down today from SGS Models. And he's just secured a great deal with, I do believe it's Mr. Hobby. So SGS can get the entire Mr. Hobby range, but he's also brought down some of this. Dave, you've used this SMS paint.
Yeah. As I say,
but
yeah.
You're an MRP man. What's going off?
It has got a similarity to MRP. Because I am a MRP dedicated, I'm going to say that SMS isn't as good, but it's very similar. But I would expect the same of somebody else that's SMS dedicated, which would probably say that is better just than MRP, although they're similar, because they are very, very similar paints. Now, I use the Cure Grey and the Hull Red for my 200 Yamato, and it went down a dream. It went down a dream. I mean, I used, like I said earlier, I used the colour, the Cure Grey, putting it on very light over a black primer, wait just literally a couple of minutes, and then I went over and in the panels a bit more, and I built the metal up, if you like, and yeah.
Paul,
with SMS,
Yes.
so you can do the same with SMS that you can with.
you know that nasal unnasaling bunging kit that you got from Boots, where you shove that wax up your nose and leave it for 5 minutes, then pull it out.
And end up with 2 gooseberries on end of a stick. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, mate. Just put your nose to the microphone here, because fucking hell,
Oh, no,
fire.
I'm mulled out with MRP. I've got plenty of it. You know.
Not
just,
MRP, that's son. That's SMS.
That's right. Oh,
And
sorry.
does
I've
that
missed
sting?
some, Anna. Mind you,
Oh,
that's
mate.
Moorish, though.
Yeah, because
Moorish.
Yeah.
you'll find that most lacquers will have that sort of smell.
That's like fucking paint stripper, that lad.
Online
SMS, it
solvent
says.
abuse.
It says SMS is the scale modelers supply premium. This is camo brown, Oscam FS Federal Standard 30219, and it says, Paul, it's an acrylic lacquer.
Yeah, it is.
They're pretty much all acrylics, aren't they?
Yeah.
Everything
This
that,
paint
you know,
is
whether it's
airbrush
water-based
ready.
or-
Straight out of the bottle. For best results, spray with a 0.3 needle at 12 to 15 psi. Me and Dave know, and probably Craigie knows as well. With MRP, my pressure gauge rarely goes above 6. Dave, you'd have to agree.
I would say 4 to 10. 4 to 10. 10
4 to
being,
10.
Yeah, 10 being the very highest I would go to it.
Applying light coats until satisfactory. While best effort has been made to ensure this product is suitable for airbrushing, blah blah blah. Shake well before use. Safety. Get camoed up with one of them suits. This paint's got a fucking skull and crossbones on, bastard, back in it. What the fuck's going on?
I've tried so hard to watch my language.
I was just going to say, Paul, didn't you tell us at the beginning? No.
Yeah, and I've been, do you know what? I've been biting my lip all for the last hour, and he just comes and belts a C-bomb or whatever he said.
Yeah, we need a new host.
I'll tell you what it is. We've just witnessed the solvent abuse, and now it's altered his mental state.
He's under the influence now, isn't he?
Yeah, see what I mean?
Hang on a minute.
I've only had one puff of that, and I feel like I've been wrapped in cotton wool.
I want another go.
Yeah.
Jesus
I
Christ.
told it. What did I say? Like about 3 minutes ago. It's Moorish, isn't it?
Morris.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That, let me get my camera over there. That is some strong shit. Let me go back to comments. Let's just have a look here.
All
So,
online
Adrian,
puffing thinners.
I know, Adrian says, Jesus Christ, I need a throat transplant. Adrian says, as much as it smells, and the fact that it is very thin, if you use it properly, it's my favourite paint. Just love it. Adrian, I know that you're talking about MRP.
Yeah, it's not a case of using it properly though either, is it? It's just you use it properly, but that's it. It's a one-trick pony. You can't do anything else with it. It's not the reason that apart from it not being toxic, I use water-based acrylics is because you can do pretty much anything with them.
I have to agree. I'll tell you what. Look, let me just hold this bad boy up, because when
MRP,
when
you cannot
I'm
brush
starting-
paint, you can't shape, you can't
no,
make a wash out of it or a glaze, anything like that. It's just in layers, and I find it you never really get the opacity that you get out of other paints either. You know, 8, 9, 10 coats, thin coats. Yeah, it builds up, but you never seem to get to a stage, or I don't, where you think, yeah, that's it. I always thought maybe a few more, or oh no, I'll leave it because it's had 19 coats in it already. So, you know,
It's
When
less-
when I
less of a-
started painting this, I were driving home thinking, I've got to MRP it because I just love the goddamn stuff. It's absolutely fantastic. But we'd already had a conversation, and this changes your perspective on weathering, because me and Paul had a conversation where we were both in agreement that MRP and chipping, it's like chipping concrete. You just can't. Once that MRP's on, it ain't coming off for nobody. So straight away, it changes your perspective on how am I going to weather this now. You know what we got there, Paul? Show us.
Probably not picking it up right because of the light, but
No, it's nice, is that?
It is.
Yeah.
you can't do that with MRP.
No, you can't.
I think you need a more dominant paint, something that looks more dominant, whereas MRP doesn't look as dominant. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, it's more subtle. Again,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
when we started talking about it, like it's not. It is a criticism in a way, but it's not like it's got its place, just like any other thing. Mark, you already said you don't like going to Vallejo. Same with me with certain products. That's just human nature, isn't it? That's just
Yeah, mate.
that's how we buy. We all like our own. You know, we've got our own foibles, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And once you like something, you'll stick to it, and you can argue all day long about it, and you'll still stick to it. And that you know, there's merit in that, isn't there? And all I'm saying is, you know, it's fantastic and it has its place. And you know, I should have said when we started, I did my Spitfire in it, and solely bought, you know, loads of it. It came out great. I loved it. But I knew that I weren't doing any. I've lost Mark. Have I lost the rest of you?
No, I'm here, mate. I'm here.
But I knew I were going to keep it relatively clean. I knew there were just going to be, you know, a bit of rust on sort of little exhaust things. I was leaving, you know, the bit of oil maybe on engine and that kind of thing. But relatively speaking, for what I'm used to, it were going to be pretty clean. So MRP were great, and with it also, I used it because it's a larger model. Like it's great for large surface areas with it, you know, nature of it. You can put a coat down on the same colour on a large surface area with that stuff, and it'll be uniform all the way across, which sometimes, dependent on the water-based paint that you use and how you've mixed it, you can get variations. But with that, it's not fully opaque like some paints, but as far as being homogeneous, the same density all the way through, yeah. And so that's, for me, that's where its place is, and I'd use it again for that reason. When I went on to engine, though, I went back to my water-based stuff and did my rusty bits that way. So,
like your genre was, like you said, Warhammer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the paints that you use for Warhammer and you see on these Warhammer figures were very dominant, loud, vibrant colours. And you're not talking about MRP when you talk about loud, vibrant colours. And that's why MRP, and I agree with you, MRP
Craigie.
probably being the same as that. So yeah, I agree with you.
Let's just get Craig into chat. Craig, Tamiya, MRP. Obviously, you're using them both.
Yeah.
Would you look at the comment there? So Adrian says that's a fair comment that MRP is a one-trick pony, but for pre-shading builds, putting on in thin layers, it's second to none in my humble opinion. But it takes time to get used to it. And would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. It's totally different to painting Tamiya. It's a different kettle of fish, totally. Different application for MRP. Yeah. It's slow, it's very steady.
With MRP, Dave, I posted onto our Facebook page the other day, and I posted a picture of this A10, and I said that it had taken me 8 passes to get this colour down. That is the whole point of it, though, mate, isn't it?
Yeah. To get that, it's to get that desired effect of sort of building a colour up, and then it gives it that depth, and I think that depth makes it look more realistic. And at the end of the day, when I use it and I paint something like that, I want to make it look realistic, not a model, just a model being painted. If you know what I mean, I'm going for that realism, and the only way I get that personally is with MRP paints, being subtle with it, and just building it up until you're happy with what you've got.
Cool. Let's introduce 2 brand new. Well, one sort of relatively new face in the guise of a 15-year-old happy little bunny that's been down to club today. Is Mr. Lewis Dell. We'll come back to you in a second. And in your bottom corner, we've got Paul Radders, all the way over from the world. Paul, good evening.
Hello, Paul.
Hang on. Can you hear me? Okay.
Are we on, Paul?
Good evening.
Good evening, love. First of all, what did you think to the video?
Which one? The intro? Yeah, sound.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm lagging behind a bit here. Something. Yeah,
you're all right. You're all right. Lewis.
Yep.
We have already covered club, but since though you're a late baby to the party, let's talk about your experience today. 15-year-old lad, 10, 11 months since, joins a club of old farts like us. 10, 11 months later, you're coming into your 16th birthday. You've been coming to the club for nearly a year. You're laid up at the minute because you've had an operation on your feet, mate, haven't you?
Yep.
What was today like?
I don't know how to describe it.
Well, you've got all the time that you need. Come on, tell us. There's people watching that don't come to the club. There's people all over the world, Scotland, down south, America, Canada, all over. Tell them what's happened to you today down at Sesco Club, mate.
Well, it's my birthday a week on Monday, so I came down. I've just had my op, so figured I'd bob down for a bit, see everyone, and then little to my knowledge, there's a cake. I'm like, oh, that's nice, and then I get told to open my hands out and close my eyes, and there's this. I'd reach for it, but I'm in bed at the minute, and it's a bit of a stretch. But this
can you get it?
It's a bit of a stretch.
He's next to me.
It is in bed.
Is it a bit of a stretch?
I can get it.
Don't you be tumbling down. I'll have you chuffing mother on me back.
If I can get it into the camera shot.
Paul, have you seen this?
What am I looking for? Hang on. Whoa. What's going on here? Whoa. Don't be, what's this? Let me see, Lou.
This is Lewis's birthday present from club, from everybody at club.
Right, okay. Well, pull it back a bit, Lou. I can't see it, mate.
Pull it back a bit low. Lift it up a bit low.
Oh, hey up. Yes, man, yes. Get in, Lewis. Happy birthday, lad. Well deserved.
Yeah.
He were well chuffed. When he opened his eyes, I saw a little tear. A little tear there.
Hang on a minute, I've got a call. Oh, the bloody hell's this? No idea. It will ring off in a minute. Can you all hear that ringing? Can you hear it ringing?
Yeah.
Very much so.
Vibration.
Lewis, that's an absolute belting kit from everybody down at club.
Yeah.
But it did come with a
Okay.
Scarborough warning, though, Mr. Radcliffe.
What's that, sorry?
I said it did come with a Scarborough warning when we handed that kit over to him today.
A Scarborough warning. What?
Yeah, that's a you better do as you're told warning. And I said,
Okay,
if he
well,
rushes it, if he starts it on Sunday and then starts posting pictures on Monday that he's ready for paint,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to break his little pinkies one by one.
They don't get the nickname, the machine.
Put it this way, if it doesn't come out like the one behind me, you're getting a slap.
So
Is
So
that
young
not saying
Lewis,
down your way then, Paul? The Scarborough warning.
No, we don't get that kind of language around here. We're posh.
That language.
let me just have a look at my settings here, because
That's nice, is that, Paul?
It is.
Must admit, I'm like the missiles are offered at the moment because it's waiting somewhere to land.
Right. How long ago did you build that?
It was only last year.
Right, okay.
Impressive kit, that.
It's an intense kit. It's a very intense kit, Lewis. So be
Wow,
prepared.
this is burning my head out. This.
Anyway,
It's like you're all talking at different times.
What about now?
yeah, I've
How
got that
many-
myself.
yeah, I have actually. How many parts are in that kit, Lou?
1,000.
That's like 100 every hour, then, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Say,
it'll be
rattle
by
that off.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
I'm just looking at, we are experiencing, I won't say massive technicality, but we are experiencing a little bit. I've gone really quiet.
Sounds
No,
like
you-
you're in a fish tank to me.
You're going weird, really weird.
Yeah, we are.
No, weirder.
Young Low, I'm going to drop you off. Listen, I'm going to drop you off, right? But everybody that's watching, I'm sure will appreciate your turning 16, turning into a man. Okay, enjoy the kit from everybody at club. Don't be racing around on them feet now you've had that operation. Take your time. Dave Housecroft will tell you he's just had an ankle fusion. So take your time, get better, get on mend, then come back to club, okay?
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Right, go on. Right, I'm going to let young Lou go because I don't want to sort of get in trouble with his mum either.
Yeah, there's something wrong with our talking.
Is it mine, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only you. Yeah.
Oh, it's only you.
You are the
I'm
sole
going to go
offender.
into.
I'm saying Paul sounds all right and Craigie sounds all right.
I'm always so trying to edit my microphone settings. Any better?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Don't touch
Yeah, that's
anything.
better. I've changed it from default to speakerphone. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
You
Back
switched
to
off the
paint.
underwater function.
Have we lost? Paul's disappeared.
Yeah,
Paul
Paul's
has disappeared. Okay, no drama.
I mean,
So this SMS. So Sean's going to get some SMS. He did have quite the selection in today, Dave. I have brought the 2 bottles home to give him a try. A little bit dearer than MRP, but I am going to take some convincing. Now, today, you didn't get to try this, but you've already tried it. You've said that you've used it on your 1 in 200 Yamato. What about cleaning, mate? Are we just on the standard cleaner to clean this bad boy out?
Yeah. Just standard cleaning. Yeah, I use IPA, and I also use the the Reamer. I give it a flush out with that as well. But you can also use the 28 as well on it, and it'll clean it out.
Okay. Paul, we're talking about paint tonight, and we've already discussed your paint of choice. But what is your paint? What is your paint of choice?
I'm assuming you're talking to me and not Mr. Patton.
Yes.
Well, I don't. I guess I fell over Vallejo basically.
Yeah.
I mean, my first experience with paint was Real Colours. I think it was. I mean,
AKs.
No. These things I've never used it.
No.
Oh no, sorry.
All right.
I've used it on tape, you see, because when I first got back into the hobby, obviously I didn't start straight off on an airbrush, and in fact I ended up on my back for about 4 to 6 weeks with sciatica. So I was just blathering YouTube, and then obviously you pick up on that, and then when I did get a bit better, you spot the paint. You know, I think I already had tape in my stash. And then you see Mr. Hobby Colours, what's it called? Real Colours, you know, for German battleship colours. I thought, oh, that seems interesting. Obviously bought the set, bought more kits, bought more of the aircraft kits, and then obviously stumbled across these sort of things.
Yeah, I'm going to say you do like them little collection boxes, don't you?
Yeah. You know, at the time, I had a lot of Luftwaffe stuff. I've got a lot of surprise. No, sorry, that's Scylla. I've got a lot of Luftwaffe stuff. So I was like, oh, that could come in handy.
Yeah.
And it's just grown from there.
What do you use the dedicated Vallejo thinner and cleaner?
No, just bang it straight in the airbrush. Oh, yeah. No, tell a lie. I use the cleaner. Don't use thinner.
And what pressure are you painting it with that?
Probably about 12-ish.
Straight through?
Straight through a Procon Boy number 2, I think it is. Straight through a Procon Boy.
That's weird, that. Why? I wonder if it's because, I'll tell you what, I wonder if it's because I'm running that 0.15. It does struggle to get through there.
Yeah, that's mine. 0.15. That's what I should have said earlier. And that's why
don't get me wrong. I have occasional problems with it. Like, you know, I get a bit of tip dry, but you know, I'm not used to it. Tip dry. I've got a wet brush right next to me.
Flow improver, Paul.
Yeah, I've got that, Mr. Patton. I've got that, but I don't use it.
That'll solve your dry end and moisten it for you.
Everybody's frozen again and stuff.
Sure.
But no, seriously though, reason that I use that is because I'm running a 0.15. That's what I should have said earlier. So it's that little bit harder to get through. So that's why I use this and thinner. I've got a 0.2 as well.
I haven't got a clue what's getting said there, to be honest.
Are you in and out, Paul?
Everybody's absolutely frozen.
We're all still here. Are you frozen, mate?
Me?
No, he's all right.
No. Paul Rad, have you got a bad connection, Paul?
I think he has.
I would say that's a yes.
I would say that's a yes as well. As well.
I'd hazard a guess. I'm gone.
Yeah, I've just knocked him out for a second. Adrian Price, I find it almost therapeutic using MRP to build up layers over many hours. It's made me really enjoy and appreciate airbrushing again. And absolutely, Adrian, I can't disagree with you. What one iota? It's just, I said to Dave Housecroft about a month ago, I was chatting with Dave and Mark, and I said, if MRP got banned, I don't know what I would use going forward. I don't know what I'd do. It's that good on the applications that I need to use it for.
Are you sure it's not that you've got a physical addiction to it?
Yeah, well, hang on a minute. Let me just have another go.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Adrian feels, what did he say? He finds it therapeutic. I do, it wraps me up it's like cotton wool. But I've got cotton wool all the way around me. Oh, it's lovely.
The difference is, do you know what? I'll tell you what the scary difference is. MRP and SMS. The SMS has got a skull and crossbones on the back, and the MRP hasn't. It's got a fire, an exclamation mark, and that's it. But the SMS that I am going to try, I've just dropped on. I've just dropped on a Phantom.
I don't know if I've got some of the older bottles or MRP, but it doesn't half look like someone's just printed those labels out at home and stuck them on. You know,
probably did.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got.
But you don't, Paul Rad, you're still with me. Are you still with us?
Is he?
He's either really good at doing a bit of stop motion, is our Paul.
Oh, I hope he is. I hope that's an act.
Do you know? Oh,
he's a
Paul?
glitch. Is he back? He's back.
Are you back?
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you back in the room?
Radders.
Can you hear us, Paul?
Which one, Patton or me?
Radders.
Yes, I can, but every time Mr. Patton was speaking, I was just getting robot and all used with freezing.
We were all doing it on
everything apart from until Paul started speaking.
My fault, must be.
Yeah. You're freezing up.
Listen, you're not that good. You're not that good at doing robot impersonations, unless you've got some sort of weird app.
We actually thought you were acting at one point, and I thought it would have been awesome if you were.
Yeah. You're freezing like hell there, Paul. Right, Paul.
Which Paul?
Paul Radders. I've had the unpleasant job of kicking Paul off. Let's see if he rejoins. How's you frozen now, or are you being stop motion? Look at that! He's a get, isn't he? He's a get. I want to go through. Can I just go through some of these comments because. Right, Adrian says, I used a dedicated set from Firescale for the D model Sierra 4x4 and it's fantastic. Never heard of that. Never heard of that. James says, use Tamiya, MIG ammo and even Humbrol and extra colours, enamels, they work for me. I've heard of those.
I'd be interested to see what Humbrol's like, because when I think Humbrol, I think that is it still that enamel, or do they? I think they do water-based acrylics as well. Actually, I'm not sure, but I'd be interested to see what it's like in up to date? Because I always think back to when I were a kid painting models and I had these paints.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know, if they've sort of kept up, but they'd have to, won't they?
Yes.
I'm thinking so. I mean, quality of paint as a whole, not just modelling paint, has really, increased. And it's got over the last 20 years, paint technology's completely changed. So
Yeah, mate.
I'd be interested to know exactly how they compare to such as Vallejo or whatever,
Very
equivalent.
much so. While we're chatting about paint, can we just go off on a skill? Dave Housecroft.
Yeah.
Metallics.
Yeah.
What we're using?
The main ones again, MRP, metallics. I use Mr. Hobby, metallics, and Tamiya.
Okay,
Metallics.
Craigie.
I don't use them. Never
You don't
tried.
use metallics.
No, never tried it.
Radders.
It depends on what format, to be honest. I mean,
Well, metallics.
I'll tell you what, no, well, let's put it this way, you see. My first bare metal aircraft, which was Thunderbolt round there, over there, Bish Bash Bosh.
All right. Vallejo.
All the paint I need to do a bare metal aircraft. Yeah.
Right.
But when it comes to like engines and stuff, I've got like just random ammo MIG paints in metallics.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
So, I mean, like, bluish titanium is brilliant on jet engines.
Yeah.
Rust, burn bronze, burn this, burn that. Fucking burn all the motherfuckers in the planet. No, but yeah, I mean, like, as I say, my first bare metal aircraft, Bish Bash Bosh, and I'm sure there'll be more, but engines and stuff and metallics, ammo MIG.
See, I will be going down that road when I do
Yeah.
get past here.
AK Extreme Metal, very good. I've got
Paul
quite
Patton.
a few of them as well.
Metallics.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Vallejo, different one for your coat d'arms. I use that. It's really nice stuff. But it's for
But you use a lot. You do quite a bit on Warhammer and Citadel. Warhammer and gaming and fantasy. So, I've got a couple of those. Well, I wouldn't call them metallics, but I've got like a Rune Lord brass.
Yeah.
And things like that, because some of those names are absolutely obscure to shit. But
they're all pretty good. But I'd choose different paint for a scale model. I used the solvent-based stuff for the metal on my Spitfire, but again, it just depends on what I'm painting. If it's on a Warhammer figure, I'll probably use Vallejo or Games Workshop stuff, because you're wanting like that. Yeah, well, you're wanting brush painting or dry brushing and what have you.
do you know what? For the undercarriage on all my aircraft, I do use, because it's great with a paintbrush, that Vallejo chrome, and I also use a Vallejo gunmetal if I want a slightly darker tone of metal. But if I'm airbrushing, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 AKs that I got from Hobby Workshop in Barnsley. They are superb metallic paints.
That AK third generation stuff's all great. It really is.
And
Brilliant stuff.
that does not look metallic.
No, it's not. I'm just saying that it'll be from the new third generation set that they've put out. But yeah, it's great stuff. But I use different ones. If you're stippling or dry brushing, you want a thicker consistency. Or if you wanted, that's nice as well. If you want proper chrome, expensive
Oh,
though.
what's that?
That's you need to buy the actual thinner with it as well. It works out quite expensive, but when you airbrush it and it just looks like chrome, really convincing. Or for brush on, I use that Display. It's actually a refill for a marker.
You do know that anytime anybody mentions Despay, it's like mentioning Macbeth with Craig, right? Because, yeah, mate, that lad will surely get some kind of erectile, not malfunction.
Oh, yeah, he's got Display underwear, hasn't he?
Yeah, anti-just. I said to him today, Dan.
Cod piece.
Display old cod piece. I said to him today down at club, I says, has anybody got a razor saw? Because I've got me A10C here. Craig literally starts opening this box up with Display stuff coming out of the chuffing, out of the woodwork, and sure enough, he's got the Display little razor saw, and he cut my seat off. What's Dave Housecroft got now?
Look out, fucking hell. Look,
That's the latest.
it's spreading. It's like a fucking disease.
It's beautiful
Fucking
stuff.
dyspitis.
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 Lovely. It's really good.
With you, Dave, with you. We've got it.
Yeah. When you need 3 pair of hands, there you
What's
go.
that?
Vice.
Vice, yeah.
Have you seen what they brought out now, though? They brought the handheld one out as well. So it's the same as that. But you just
Yeah,
put
they
it
have,
on a
yeah.
platform on the bottom.
Yeah.
So it is in the basket for when they get it in stock. It will be delivered.
Is this now turned into a Display conversation?
Yeah, no, it's not. Dave House, can you see the comments coming on, mate? Do you want to go through comments?
Where are you from? Hang on a minute.
Well, I've got one on the screen at the moment.
Oh yeah. James Grozier has said that yes, those tinlets have about he's got about 60 of them. And then Gray's Models are saying that yes, they do, Paul. Same tins and acrylic. And then something interesting what Adrian Price is saying. I've spoken to a few commission builders here in Sweden, and they tell me that MRP are the closest to the inferior colours they can find for most projects without mixing your own.
Very good.
Again, yeah, that's good. Gray's Models is saying that the Humbrol acrylics are in dropper bottles like Vallejo.
Yeah, they are now. They never used to be.
No.
Yeah, and every time someone mentions Display, my wallet slams shut from Friday. Eddie says that. I bet he's chuckling as we're speaking. Yeah. And,
Call it
James,
Despair.
yeah, James Grozier is just saying,
Despair.
what's he saying?
Call it Despair.
Despair, not Despair, yeah.
Fucking brilliant. That's fucking tickled me, that has. Yeah, I mean. Okay, no, man.
They do some really good products, to be fair, to Despair.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it is good stuff.
Yeah.
But has anybody seen the bloody? Have you seen the latest thing out from them though? The paintbrush system.
I've got it.
Oh yeah,
Fuck off, Craig. You better not have. You are getting a slap. You better not be there at club when I first come up, mate. That is absolutely dreadful.
As well.
I've got
What
the
is
back,
it?
the desk back.
Right. Well, while everybody's
it?
on, I am right. So listen. I'm going to show how many people. There's 16 people watching. Right. I'm going to hold something up to the camera. I don't want anybody to freak out. Okay.
It's not your knob, is it?
Okay. Oh, I can't even reply to that.
Not
Okay.
your chode. What's that?
Little droppers. Yeah.
What?
Chocolate bottles for Tommy, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's taken label off and put it on just a standard dropper bottle. It's not as if you've discovered fire, is
You
it?
know what I mean? I can't believe none of you's even got onto that. He done that about fucking 6 months ago, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
About 3 years ago.
I done that
Yeah,
years
as long
ago with
as
all my
that.
Games Workshop stuff.
I remember him doing it. Yeah.
I do, Dave. I do.
Bless you.
I tried doing
That's-
it once, mess the bloody label up.
That is an interesting comment from Adrian about the MRP being the closest in period colours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So SMS, Dave, am I going to be an SMS convert or am I staying with MRP?
You're going to stay with MRP. But
Do you know what? I'm gonna actually get my marker pen. I'm gonna get my marker pen and change that SMS there, right, to neck breaker.
Yeah. But I reckon you will use SMS as well.
You reckon?
Yeah. And even when Outlaw Paints come over here.
The thing is with us, cast your mind back an hour and 40 minutes. We've got Sean from SGS Model Store in Leeds that is now an SMS stockist. And although this stuff is the same quantity as MRP, Dave,
Yeah.
we know because you buy my MRP paints and then I pay you back. When we're looking at postage and packaging, whereas Sean can get us these and we don't have to pay that,
No.
then it's got to be worth a try.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think if you're a person that's actually on MRP, for me, you're not going to be converted to SMS from MRP.
Interesting terminology, though, there, Dave.
Go on.
But you said if you're someone that's on MRP,
Yeah.
you know, as if it's like
Let me
crack.
read
Or,
Crack.
Yeah. Somebody who's fucking mainlining it.
MRP, but that's the same, isn't it? If you're someone that sprays MRP, for me, you're not gonna convert to SMS. But
There's not many
comments.
There's not many comments, Dave, that's come up that says, I think there's only Adrian really that says MRP for me. There's not many other people that have commented saying MRP yet. You've just done your YouTube channel and you use MRP. I bang on about it like you can't believe.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that there aren't many more people have started to use this proper quality paint.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day,
He's trying to get fucking sponsorship or something.
the likes of Tammy.
it's because he's got an habit.
The likes of this,
And oh yeah, that reminds me. I need to get some more fucking Vallejo needles.
Yeah, yeah.
have you done?
Shit, man, I need my fix, man.
Have a minute here. Have a minute. Have what? Yeah, man. Okay.
Fucking thinners on your tea break.
It does. Do you know what? Back in my youth, let's not go there. Amyl nitrate, sniffing that, but that.
Links through a sock. 90s kid, me.
Mark,
Now, when you say Arrow lightsabers, was that we used to call that rush? I think we used to call
Poppers.
it. Like in a bottle, and you'd like open it and
Yeah.
slip it, and give you a fucking big mad headache.
Ain't it supposed to that designed to make your
Yeah.
arsehole go wide?
Yeah.
Designed to
Yeah.
gear a wide on, isn't it?
No
Yeah.
kidding now. Yeah, we used to call that rush for some reason. I don't really know why, but
And it makes it sound like there's a seal in room. It goes like ar.
yeah. Used to be about £2.75 a bottle or something.
I wonder
Interesting
that
that we've
far.
digressed back onto solvent abuse as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's carried over. Yeah.
Looking apart, this channel does not endorse solvent abuse or any other
Yeah.
harmful substances.
The thing
It's
with
like
the
that- it's like that
MRP,
when I sit down to have my chips and I put like fucking salt and vinegar on, I think, fucking hell, am I decal in here or what?
when I start to paint, hang on a minute. Before I started painting the A10, I knew that I was going to paint it in MRP, but I also knew after a conversation that I'd had prior with Paul Patton that chipping it back were not going to be a problem. Paul, that encouraged me to put a matte coat down and get my oils out.
What was that?
Me.
Oh,
To Paul Patton.
Oil wash, baby.
it's interesting that you said that. It's exactly what I'm doing right now.
No way.
Absolutely. There you go. There she blows.
There she blows.
Abtalungo, is it, Paul?
Yeah,
I don't know how you pronounce it. Abtalungo or something.
I think that's it, mate. Yeah, it looks like it. You don't have to use that. You can use
No.
just Windsor
Yeah.
and Newton stuff. But this is, I used to mix black and Van Dyke brown to get like an engine colour. And there you go.
Whoa, 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 whoa. A what colour?
Like an
Engine-y.
engine kind of greasy.
Engine-y?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the technical term.
Just have a minute here.
Can you see that?
Oh, it's in. You're all right.
Look, there you go. Engine-y.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Love it.
Unreal.
Comment, Dave Housecroft, what we got?
But has anyone tried it? Hataka lacquer, it's great as well.
No.
I've not tried Hataka, no.
What's that?
I know-
Has
I
anyone
know-
tried Hataka lacquer?
Yeah, I know.
Hataka lacquer? No. Sounds very Japanese. And joking apart, the Japanese stuff is usually pretty good model-wise, isn't it?
Yeah, let's be fair.
Yeah.
Didn't Hataka do like a version of those packs that Paul likes?
Yes.
They did, didn't they? Yeah. With
They
all
do a
the-
red line, orange line, and a blue line. One's paintbrush, one's airbrush, one's airbrush lacquer, I do believe.
Right, yeah, because they do like those boxes that that Paul Radders was showing earlier. I think that Hataka do something like that as well. They have their own pack of colours.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Pretty much all the paint manufacturers. It's only like really Tamiya or, you know, the MRPs and that. Like I said, I stumbled across them, these like box sets, as it were.
Yeah,
I seen them, I probably just bought like a measures bit or something, and then, ooh, Luftwaffe paint set. Ooh, go on then.
yeah,
And then pretty much every kit I've gone, oh, right, well, I need that then.
yeah,
Have we mentioned Mr. Hobby, by the way? Because that's good stuff.
yeah. It is. Yeah,
Sean is also, not only is Sean stocking SMS going forward, he's also stocking the full Mr. Hobby range. And I thought about you, Dave, when he pinged me at the beginning of the week, and I thought, oh well, you guys, you especially, Dave, you're a big lover of that 1500 Surfacer, aren't you?
oh yeah. As a primer, the 1500. Yeah, Absolutely, definitely. Yeah.
That's why I prime my Spitfire in that.
Yeah, it's
Really?
platinum is that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a
And
Mr.
yeah.
Hobby. I'm a primer converter, but that's been only out of necessity.
But
So
Dave, you've used MRP primer,
Yeah. I was
and
going to say it's the closest primer that I've seen that gets close to MRP, the fine primer.
really,
Yeah, for me, it's not as fine as MRP, but it's not far off. Not far off at all.
So,
Wow.
and I don't prime with an airbrush.
eh?
Yeah, I
Nah.
always do an airbrush. Yeah.
Life's too short for that.
I mean, like, just going back to like Ammo Mig and Vallejo, you know, obviously that's what I kicked off on, and that's what I've stuck with. Now going back to the primer, I was like, okay, then let's have the Vallejo primer, let's have the Mig primer. Brilliant. You know, bottles this size, great stuff, yeah, brilliant. But like a month or two down the line, and it's useless.
What do you mean?
It doesn't. There's no shelf life to it, Mark.
Hey, on what?
On Vallejo primer or Ammo Mig primer, there's no shelf life. That's what I found anyway. I mean, that's pretty much. I'd say that's about maybe 2/3 full, but it is now useless.
Paul Patton, talk to me, brother. What you got?
I've got Colour Forge. I've got it in white, grey, brown, black. I use their matte varnish as well. But the amount of models that I go through, if I were going to be airbrushing primer on, it'd take me a long time. This is really good because remember as well, when you're using primer, you want one that's going to actually bite into plastic. So the MRP stuff is going to do that because obviously, you know, because it's a solvent. But like the Vallejo stuff, I don't use that because it's literally just a different type of, it's like thicker paint. There's nothing in it. There's nothing in it that actually bites into the surface like a primer does. When you use rattle cans, it does exactly that. And all these are matte as well. They've got an absolutely beautiful finish. The only thing that I find better than this is Mr. Surfacer stuff. That is super fine, but it's not necessary for things that have got texture to them, and these go a long way as well. So in
Paul Rad.
Yeah, well, this is it. This is a good point Paul's making. Like, I mean, I've used Halfords in the past. Again, it's like about maybe 10 or 30, you know, Halfords rattle cans for primer, and it's maybe like 10 or 12 pound a can. And you might get like 4 models of full-on primer, maybe 5. And so I think that could be the way to go with primer, is rattle can primer.
I've done that for a long time now. Don't get me wrong, I used to use airbrush for primer.
Stuff, I mean, like the likes of that, I'll just leave all this sort of stuff on the sprue and just not blather it, but I'll make sure it gets primered. And then it'll either get touched up or just painted once all these little bits go together. But they will get an initial coat of primer.
Cool.
Save you a lot of time on your build though, using rattle cans.
Yeah, definitely rattle cans.
I have considered it, but I have considered it, Pat. But I always thought that the application would be too thick.
No, and the thing is as well, some people do 2 and 3 coats of primer. You really don't want that. You don't have to see it. You don't have to have a completely opaque layer. You know what I mean? As long as you've got a mist coat, that's all it's for your next layer to sit on top of. And as long as you use a rattle can or a solvent base, it's gonna bite into plastic. Whereas if you use again Vallejo or any alternative that's water based, all that does is just sits on top. Yeah, it's, you know what I mean, it's not going to flake off, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to do the same thing as something that's got a solvent in it that actually melts its way and eats into plastic for you. I mean,
Cool.
try it on your next. I'll bring some to the club if you want.
I was just going to say, mate, I've actually done a kit swap today with Mark Bridge. I've given Bridgie my last Revel F3 Tornado in return for the test flight 1 in 32 Phantom that I will get some decals for from Telford. So I will be building that. The next club, mate, isn't for another 3 weeks.
Is it not?
First and third Saturday a month. So I'll try and build that, mate. And if you don't mind bringing that in.
Yeah, no problem. I'll tell you something else as well that it's handy for. I don't know if you guys do, but I use different coloured primers. So all that's metal or going to be rusty, I use black. All that I want that's a mid colour, I use I use this. Or if I want it to really pop, then I use white. And there's no change in fanning about with airbrush. You just literally picking another can up, boom, done. So I have all my bits and bobs all on a separate thingy. All that's, do it on a production line. So all that's black, all on the same thing. Rattle them all off, and you wouldn't believe the time you'll save. Because if you've got an hour to do your hobby, and you think, right, I'll get these primed, all of a sudden you get a bit of bother with your airbrush. You've spent an hour cleaning your airbrush, and buzzer's gone and everything. That's happened to me before loads of times. Pick your rattle can up, and we're away, aren't we?
Dave Housecroft, you're looking over your shoulder. I know that you. In fact, he's turned his microphone off. See if I can turn it back on. Dave, you've turned your microphone. Oh, you've turned it back on. I know that you're going to go soon. We are going to wrap up. Not shortly, because we've been on for nearly 2 hours. What were you looking over your shoulder for then, Dave? What, primer?
No, because I was talking to Lena on today.
Right, bear with me. Let me just have a look here because he's coming back on. He did drop off, but he's coming back on. So, is he there? Adrian says primers. What does he say, Dave? I can't. One side tap on it, mate. I can't read it.
Primers. I use Mr. Surfacer thinned with their leveling thinners or MRP, but I find the thinned Mr. Surfacer built up in a few thin coats gives me the best results. So I think Adrian's going for Mr. Surfacer that is thinned.
Right. Okay.
I mean, you know me. I go for MRP, but if I use any sort of spray can, rattle can for primers, it's the 1500 Mr. Surfacer in the spray can. That's the
because said that. Don't forget it comes in spray can as well.
Yeah.
Did you got the last 2 cans, didn't you, Dave, from Diamond Dave's Halifax Modeller's World on our Christmas shop last year?
Yeah, I did, and I've used them both already. Hence,
you've used them both already.
Hence the Yamato. The 1/32 scale F14, it went on all them.
Adrian says, I've tried rattle cans, but I find the paint goes down too thick and you'll risk losing all the detail there.
Yeah, that's why I don't use primer rattle can. I think it goes down a little bit textured, if you like, when you're looking for something finer.
But if you've used a rattle can, Paul, would you paint straight onto the top of that, or would you give it sort of like a 6,000 grit paper just to smooth it off?
This is super smooth. It's really nice.
Super smooth.
Like I said, the only thing better than this, you're going to get a smoother finish with Mr. Surfacer. But for things that do have texture, like wargaming or armour, or like that, happy days.
Cross armour, it'll be perfect because you want that texture, don't you?
But don't get me wrong. When I say texture, it's not got any. The only way that this would have texture if it were an hot day and you get those speckles when it dries before it reaches its target, sort of thing. If it's used properly, and a lot of people as well, they depress the trigger and give it this. That's incorrect. You've got to
You know that,
like
don't you,
this.
Mark?
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I've still got it.
But if you,
Cool.
I mean, I wouldn't use. I'm painting cars here, and although I'm going rusty, I mean, can you see that? Probably a bad example, but right, perfect example actually, because I've just realised there's no paint on there, as in that's the primer, and because it was right colour, I've just put my gloss coat on it and started putting oil wash on it.
Yeah,
Right.
lovely.
That's that.
Right.
Smashing, lovely.
So you can see how smooth that is. But like I say, it is matte. When I've actually put a gloss coat on this, so I can start my weathering process. So that's why it's a shine. But that shine's showing you just how smooth it is. Like I said, that's your primer. I've put no more paint on top of that.
So you're doing a good job there, Paul. You're doing a great
Thanks.
job there.
Right. Okay.
But again,
Okay.
it goes back to that preference thing, doesn't it? You do what suits you with the products that you prefer. And I can show you all day long. You know, you can use this and see how you might like it. You might want to stick to doing it by airbrush. I do that because majority of stuff that I paint, it's a bit of a waste to use what they call it, Mr. Surfacer.
Yeah.
You know,
one downside, and I think you'll agree, Mark, to the MRP black fine primer is you use it so quickly.
Yes.
You know, you use a lot of it.
Yes.
And that's the downside with that.
it's dear, isn't it?
Yeah, you use that much of it, and it costs a little bit more than the actual paint itself. Yeah, you use a lot of it.
I mean, it cost me a fortune to do that Spitfire because I literally bought the paints for that. So unless I do you know, something in the same colour, I've kind of just bought them for that.
Yeah.
Craigie.
Yes.
Primer.
Primer. My go-to primer is that.
AK. What is that?
It's
My
very,
colour.
very strong stuff. It
Yeah.
absolutely reeks. But
Right.
It sticks to anything, metal, plastic.
So it's good for
multi-purpose.
photo etch. Is it good for photo etch then, Craigie?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. All right,
Yeah.
lovely.
And it's
But is
straight
that
out
for
of bottle.
plastic as well?
Plastic as well, yeah. It's a multi-purpose primer. But
Mm.
the smell from this thing is unreal. It's toxic. It's really bad.
Mark's already ordered some off Amazon.
No, I'll tell you what I was thinking. On my next. I know that we're over 2 hours now, but there's still 15 people watching, so people are interested in the topic of conversation that we're nattering about. Some people, Paul Patton, don't use primer at all.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't sometimes.
And again, you know, who's to say that's wrong or right? We're painting toy soldiers at the end of the day, aren't we? So you do it the way that you want to do things. And I've seen not just people who can't be arsed with primer, real top-end painters that just bang it straight on plastic. And, you know, great.
Yeah, but you've already said, right, and this is what's sticking in my head. You've already talked about primers that bite into the plastic.
Yeah.
Well, which paints that we're using then, if we're not primer coating, which paint bites into the plastic?
Well, you see, when you're painting a presentation figure, for instance, it's not going to take much hammer or out like that, is it?
No.
It's going to be in a cabinet and things like that. It's not for wargaming.
Yeah.
Depends on process you're going through, because if you're doing weathering, as in you wanting to do chipping or anything that's going to require you making marks and actually abrasing that surface in any way or rubbing into it, you do really need a primer, because a normal paint will just sit on top. You scratch it off with your fingernail.
Yeah.
And when you're doing chipping, obviously you have say you're doing rust chipping. You do the rust coat. You put your chipping solution down, and then you paint on top, and you start chipping back. Well, if you didn't primer that, you'd actually scratch back to the plastic rather than the rust coat.
You do it, man.
Right.
You get me?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So if you're, it all depends on, I suppose, what you're doing afterwards and the products that you're using. Again, if it's just a presentation piece, then I wouldn't do it personally. I always prime my models. I'm just saying that, each to their own. If it works for you, then whatever. But if you don't prime when you're doing weathering like I do, you're going to run into problems, because again, you're not going to be able to scratch back to the colour that you want. You're just going to scratch straight back to your plastic model.
Yeah, I think, Mark, I think it's right what Adrian's saying. Where you're just taking it off. I'm going to read it.
Hang on.
Going to put it back on. Yeah, he says at the end of the day, there is no right or wrong, good or bad paints. It's all what you personally like using, and at the end of the day, you know what, you can't really argue with that.
No, you can't.
I've been saying that all night, really, Anna.
Yeah, you have, Paul. Yeah,
and it's true no matter what you do with whatever subject it is, it progresses because people have their own way of doing things. If it didn't, it'd just be linear, wouldn't it? And we'd all do exactly the same thing. We'd use the same product. But because people diversify and digress and what have you, this is why. I mean, we wouldn't probably have a 2-hour live stream either if we didn't have this to talk about, because everybody's
absolutely
different.
Mate.
Because it'd just be right. We use Vallejo, and we use this, and we pay toy soldiers. Yeah, thanks for your. But we get to discuss all this because we have all got different preferences, and we have all had different experiences with different stuff. And I mean, people who are at different stages in hobby as well have put me onto some fantastic products that I might never have found out. So you listen to everyone's opinion, and then choose whether it's right for you and or whatever. But, but we share ideas at the end of the day, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the beauties about the hobby. Dave, comment what we got.
Yeah, Mr. Surfacer never lets me down.
Do you know what? I must admit, when we went to Diamond Dave's at Christmas, it literally took about 45 seconds, this little scenario. You said to me, Mr. Surfacer 1500, and straight away I thought, I've heard of that. I fancy a bit of that. But I got distracted going this way, and you went that way. And then when I came round from having conversation with the boys and girls that came with us, it was here, and I thought, Mr. 100. And I do believe I even said to you, Dave, where is it? And you went, well, it was over there, but I've just got the last two.
Yeah. True story.
So thanks for that.
Next club, Mark.
Go on.
Well, I'm just saying, if you want to do a follow up to this, we can test some. I've got loads of different primers. I've got the Rattle can of that. I've got all these color forge ones. If you're bringing that model in, I'll bring one in too, and we'll just, you'll see difference in each primer, won't you? And you see
very much so. Very much so, because
do a bit of a follow up to what we've just been on about.
That's the beauty of the club, isn't it? End of the day, people who are at club watching it, they will cotton on to this and they'll be saying, yeah, I'll certainly have a bit of that. Adrian Price, that's what makes this subject so interesting to talk about, and it's what you were saying, Paul. You can learn so much. Absolutely. If we all used one brand, it would literally be good evening, everybody. We all use this, and good night.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have we learned anything, Mr. House, or are you going away knowing everything that you already know?
Yeah, I've learned although I did know, but I have learned that what Adrian had said, where there's no right or wrong. We can always say this is better than that and that's better than this, but we're all individual, aren't we? We all have our own preferences. So I think what I've learned from it all is maybe let's not put down the paints that I generally do put down as much, and try them in a different way. So sort of thing, and see if they will agree with me. But I will not come away from them happy.
Okay, Paul Patton, have you learnt anything or
Always
what?
learning. Always learning. Every day is a school day, innit?
Of course it is. You're right.
And like I say, it doesn't matter where a person is in the journey, hobby. You should never dismiss a newbie or whatever, because I've learnt and been put onto like quite a few cool products, from people who've only just started, because they've got a different angle on it, haven't they? They start to watch a lot of videos that I might not necessarily watch, and we don't know it all, do we?
No, mate. Paul Radcliffe.
What?
Whoa.
Paul Radcliffe, you've been in and out with us tonight.
I don't understand the language of Dalek.
Right, yeah, I know. Have you learned anything while you've been in and out of stream this evening?
Probably not, to be fair. And I know what I know. I stick with what I know.
That's absolutely fine, mate. Craigie Stins.
Yes, I've learned a lot, and I still am learning every day. Every day is a different day for me, and I'm willing to try new techniques, try and better myself. That's what it's about, isn't it? Getting better and better. So I'm
Cool beans. And what have I learned? I've learned that
MRP is not the be all and end all.
MRP is great.
MRP is not the be all and end all. Do you know what?
I'm despised, expensive.
I can't wait to have a proper go with this SMS. There's been some brands of paint on tonight that I've never even heard of. And nobody's even mentioned, and I'm surprised you haven't mentioned this one, Paul and Dave, that you haven't even mentioned Zero paints.
Or Pro Scale paints. Zero and Pro Scale, I've got them both actually.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
No, me neither. Just don't think there's any more.
If you go on, Dave.
Yeah, that's the Pro Scale. And
I have seen that one.
Yeah, and that
actually saying that
label now, but that's the Zero paint. I did my Mustang in.
The Pro Scale, Dave, isn't it? A lot of the stuff that Paul uses, the car guy, Paul Bretland.
Yeah, Paul Bretland. Yeah, that's that.
It's good for car colours, isn't it?
Yeah, and they'll mix up any colour for you. If you mixing up, they'll mix a colour up for you.
So a bit of a niche product, really, isn't it? What do you think?
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, but if you want paints for cars, rally cars, all that sort of stuff, those two are my go-to. Pro Scale, Zero. Maybe more so Pro Scale, to be fair.
I mean, I'm like, I get absolutely stunning results on these Vallejo box sets. They absolutely look like a Spitfire. They absolutely look like a Thunderbolt. They absolutely look like I mean, the sea camo set, the Southeast Asia camo set.
Yeah.
Me Super Saber over there looks like it's just landed from fucking Saigon, like, you know what I mean?
Nobody's even mentioned Crown or Dulux, have they?
No, Crown or Dulux. Or Johnson's.
There we go again.
Yeah.
Dave House, comment.
Regarding that, what people should... crikey, that's a good question. I've no idea, to be fair.
We've covered on our live stream. So there's 18 people watching now. We are new to the live stream. We've covered places to visit.
Yeah.
We've covered. What else have we covered? We've covered photo etch and resin.
Can't be asked with this shit.
Yeah. Well, okay, then I've got one for you then for next one. What about kit manufacturers?
Such as, what do you mean?
Tamiya, Airfix, Hobby Boss, Trumpeter, Dragon, Revell, just
Accurate armor.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Do you want to bring scale into that because Paul only builds 1 in 32?
Well, you can just discuss whatever scale at the time when you
1 in 32.
when you discuss when you discuss a manufacturer, you can discuss the scale of what you're talking about at the time. So you can have a 1/72, you can have a 1/32, you can have a 1/18.
Hang on a minute, we've got another comment.
Yeah. Filling as in fillers.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, yeah, fillers. Yeah, why not?
What else? We've done gloss coat and matte coat, haven't we?
Tools at trade.
Tools at trade. Craigie.
This spare boy there.
Despair boy.
I only need Craig on his own, then I can have a Saturday off that night.
Yeah, but
It'll be the Craigie show.
Yeah,
tools is a massive part of the job, innit? If you ain't got
of course it
tools,
is.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
haven't done the job.
And when you scratch building, even more so, eh?
Very
Yeah.
much so. I've been down that road.
I've got a fly in my shed. Yeah, absolutely. Right, so we might look at a little bit of filling then. For us different kinds of fillers because and James's comment as well, future gloss coat. Next one. So are we going to do for next one, because this is another massive subject, filling, because there's that many, and gloss and matte coats.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like your varnish and stuff like that.
Varnishes, that's the word I was looking for,
Yeah.
Craigie. Varnishes. Right, okie dokie. Let me make my.
Oh, it's gone.
He's gone.
He has, hasn't he?
He's pressed wrong button. He's pressed wrong button.
He has. Don't let him back in.
What is he like? Look, he's at it. Look, he's
No, what you doing back?
What? I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I don't know.
We're all just winging it, mate, aren't we?
We're all just winging it. I'll tell you what. Let me just try again.
See ya.
Yeah, let me try again. Adrian Price. That's what's great about this hobby. You learn something every day with each project. Couldn't agree more, Paul. Every day is a school day. 2 hours and 18 minutes. Do you know what? It absolutely flies by. You've all been great company again, Dave. Thank you for actually sticking it through, because I know that you were only going to do an hour.
No.
You were, but I think that just goes to show how interesting this subject has been. If Paul Pat just leans back about half an inch with your head in that position, stop. It looks like you've got some kind of big wig thing going off here. That's the look at that.
Yeah, baby.
That's my just got out of bed look. I love it.
Gonna take a
I love
picture.
it. What is it?
I have no clue.
Go on, do it again. Put your head back
Oh,
with
it's,
it.
it's
What
my,
is it?
It's my selection of clamps.
Selection of, I'm glad that you said that and you didn't say it's me. It's my selection of boas that I use on me on a weekend.
Boa
Happy days.
constrictors.
Boa constrictors. Craig, as usual, mate. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your. As Paul, Dave's got camera out. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your participation in that. It's been great chatting with. I could stay here all night, but at the end of the day, And we have got 17 people watching, but we've been going for 2 hours and 19 minutes, and I'm very conscious that as what?
To order me curry.
Yeah, I've been busting for a week for about half an hour. Guys, thanks as usual for your time. Next club is in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
And we'll take up the conversation from there. Okay.
And thanks for everybody commenting and
Absolutely
and joining us. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to get last word to Paul Patton. Last word before we go.
Respect each other's opinions.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more, mate.
Peace.
Probably more than one
Couldn't
word,
agree.
right? But that's what can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Actually, I'm going to have last word. James says, too much for SMS. Adrian says, would it not be better to do filling and sanding together? You've got a point there, mate. And then again, down at the bottom, cheers, chaps. Really enjoyed it. Listen, everybody, 2 hours and 20 minutes we've been sat here absolutely numbing your minds again. James, cheers for a great show again. Absolutely no problem. We love coming on.
Yeah, we'll never get that back.
No, I know you'll never get it back. Telford is fast approaching. 17 people watching. Telford's fast approaching. Me, Craigie, and Paul will be there. If you do see us, we'll be in our Sesco merch. Fist bumps all round if you want, because that's what we're going down for. Dave, unfortunately, isn't coming this year.
I might go for the day.
Oh, hang on a minute. Say that again.
I may go for the day, but I don't know yet, because I don't know whether I'll be able to drive because of my foot. So.
If you see us three and anybody else in a Sesco t-shirt, or Dave even, because he'll have his on, fist bumps for everybody, and we'll give them back. I've made a video on the club today. It has taken about a month to do it, and it's taken over 30 hours to edit that bad boy. If you've not seen it, go onto my YouTube channel. It's a little bit further down there. Watch it. I've done it all on my phone. No computer aided assistance. I'm sort of like helping, coaching Dave at the same time, and other people down at club on editing videos and photos and shit. So if you want to go and have a look, that would be absolutely great. Until next time, then, lads, shall we knock it in?
Yeah, stand at toilet.
Yeah.
We all need toilet, right?
Yeah.
We'll catch you all later. Thanks everybody for watching.
Later.
Cheers.
See you later, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.